discovering that I was returning home to who I've always been. I didn't need to become somebody else. And that's an experience that is like no other. It's just, I couldn't think my way into that. I had to feel my way into that. And that's what the Daily Miracles and the whole field cohort allowed me to do.
So if we start here, what brought you into the field in the first place? What was it about the idea of the field?
Well, I actually had a lot of signs, if you remember that leading in, books would just appear. I would be in conversation and there would just be something that would show me something magical. And I'd just be like, wow, it stopped me in my tracks. And you and I were chatting, and I was like, well, this is a sign just to do it. Actually didn't really know 100% what I was going into. And that was
Nobody did.
great. I just followed, nobody did, but I just went with it and I just followed the sign. It was just like, go into the field.
One of the conversations that we had with about so much of the coaching world, even the coaching world that's like talking about being, is still so in the head. It's still so
Yes.
intellectual. It's all about like creating with the mind. Whereas like the whole proposition of the field was actually, well, what do you create when you go beyond the mind?
Yes, yes, totally. And that's what attracted me to the field, is that it really was beyond the mind. It was limitless possibility. And because we've all been trained really to think from the neck up,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
an opportunity to go, well, I haven't been a serious meditator before. And it wasn't even about meditation, but it was about giving me the space to explore what that could look like in my life.
Yeah.
And once we started doing the Daily Miracles, it was like your body just craved it. It almost became like an addiction, not, a very healthy one. And I really recognized that it was mind and body gelling together. It was like the whole integrated being,
Hmm.
at peace, at surrender. So it was way more than just giving me information.
Yeah, yeah.
We
And
don't need more information. There's so much out there. It was giving us time and peace and space to explore who we really are.
yeah. Oh, which is such a great lead into who did you discover about who you really are? What did you discover?
Well, I think I discovered that I was always who I was, and that we all are spiritual beings. And the whole thing for me with the field was discovering that I was returning home to who I've always been. I didn't need to become somebody else. I didn't need to seek something from the outside world. That the whole time I was just returning back into my heart, into my soul, into my body. And that's an experience that is like no other. It's just, I couldn't think my way into that. I had to feel my way into that. And that's what the Daily Miracles and the whole field cohort allowed me to do.
You like when you say returning home to myself,
Mm,
what's implied is that we abandon ourselves, which is
yes.
which is what so many of us do throughout our life, especially as we move into adulthood, is
Mm,
is like we repeatedly abandon ourselves to the point where we're so disconnected from who we are that all of our hopes and dreams and like what we're really here to be and create, bring into the world kind of gets forgotten, but it's like it's always there under the surface. What kind of like changes began to happen for you?
it's a great question. Besides seeing synchronicities everywhere, just I would think something and then I would see it, or I would feel it, or the song on the radio would come. So I started to return to a state of, or a frequency, I think, that was was me. It was, I can't even explain. Sorry, I'm not explaining it well, but just what did I really start to notice? That I trusted myself. I actually believed in myself. I recognized that I am everything. And, we hear this all the time, you are the universe. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? But it's actually you are.
Yeah.
And that I was responsible for everything that was in a way was happening to me. Like I got to choose who I wanted to be, what I thought, how I acted, what I was becoming. I it didn't need I didn't need the outside world to feel like I needed to cling on to something and be like dragged. I actually was whole and complete, exactly who I was.
Mm.
So it was very much a feeling, if I'm honest. It was just this whole body. I just knew. There was a knowing. There was a deep internal knowing. It was coming into an alignment. It was coming into something that was true on all levels, in my body, in my being, in my soul, in my heart, in my mind. There was nothing that felt a bit off to the side.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was just this flow.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
And
so
it felt easy. It felt easy, I would say.
yeah.
Like, and I have to say, because I'm in Australia, obviously. So waking up at 12 o'clock at night, 1 a.m., sometimes 5 a.m., like that's not really ideal for good sleep hygiene. But I was never tired.
Yeah,
But the feel, the people, the energy, it gave us energy. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
like it was a life force that was just like wake up. I didn't even need to set an alarm. I just knew my body knew to wake up in the middle of the night, which
yeah, yeah,
and to do that for a year consistently, you know what? It taught me, it showed me what commitment was. It showed me what was possible if you really want something and it
mm,
feels good. You're going to do it. It was easy and it was flowing.
yeah. What would you say to someone who thinks, oh, is this just woo? Is this just woo woo?
I would say that you owe it to yourself to explore something beyond rational thinking. Because again, this is beyond the mind. And
Mm,
when you are in a collective group with other people sharing these energies, these vibrations, these frequencies through the daily miracles, something magical really happens. And it needs to be felt. It's like an energy spark. I remember there was multiple times in a daily miracle that my hair would stand on end, or my skin would start tingling, or my leg would start vibrating for no reason because it was so powerful what was happening. Even though we're on Zoom, there's people from all different continents of the world. It actually is. It's a real thing. There's so much more to this idea of what being human is than we're even aware of. So, like, explore something new, give it a try, because it could just be the total unlocking, and of you, and yeah, allow you to return home to yourself. Yeah. So my journey on the outside was funny because I really left home at that stage to do a trip around Australia for 9 months. So that
oh yeah, 9 months.
coincided pretty much with the start of the field. And I was in a different location pretty much every day when we would go on daily miracles or we'd have our group calls. And there was so much, I was living that in the physical world as well as in my emotional world, in my mind, in my body, in in everything I was doing in here. And
Mm,
then my outside world in a way was mirroring that. And I was fortunate to be in the most serene remote locations, and I think it actually changed me. That period to be away from home actually also taught me that no matter where you are, you can always come home to yourself. You don't need the physical house or structure or whatever, wherever you live, that you can actually be at home within yourself in the middle of nowhere.
Mm.
So that was
Mm.
really powerful. And the connections that we formed with the, 18 other people in the group, lifelong connections that I honestly say there's a bond there that all of us will share, even though we may not speak to each other all that regularly. But, if we ever were to get together, that it was an energy force field.
Was like one of the things that was kind of one of the things you were really getting from it was clarity. I remember you using that word a lot.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, clarity in all areas of my life, who I was, and recognizing that I am everything. I am whole and complete. And that was clarity. It was like just a bomb went off. It was like this realization that we all have access to that as well. It's not just reserved for somebody that, did the work. It's like that is available to each one of us. So that clarity guides me in everything I do now, because there's always going to be times in our life when we come back into the day to day, maybe something went wrong here or this. And again, that's just a perspective. But now that clarity comes back all the time, because I can just remember, no, actually, this just passes through. This can move. This is just energy and motion.
Yeah.
And that the field gave me that clarity. It really anchored me down to what is possible, what is available, and that we are limitless. Yeah. And clarity in work, in our family, in our appreciation of just the simplest things, that we don't need much.
It kind of reminds me what you're saying about one time I was at an event with my coach. Actually, he was doing an event, and I remember saying that, I can't remember maybe what it was, but I remember saying I know that I can do X, Y, Z. I know I'm capable of anything, but I don't, like, how do I get it in my bones? Like that was my
Mm,
question. I don't, like, how do I get it in my bones? And I remember him saying, "You don't know it then." And that was like, it was like a circuit
mm.
breaker for me, because I just realized, holy shit, I don't know it. If I know it intellectually, but I don't know it in my bones, I don't know
Yes.
it at all. That's not knowing. And so often, like, we know that we're so much more. We know that, like, we're made of so much more, but we don't know it because it's not in our bones yet. And for me, like, what you're describing is, like, through this process, like, you get it in your bones. You, like, every
Mm,
cell aligns, every thought aligns, like the whole being aligns into that, like,
yeah.
deep knowing that, I'm everything, I'm whole, I'm clear, I'm certain, and I can
Yep.
move and create from that place, which is invaluable. um
It's it needs to be, again, it's a feeling. It
yeah.
really is a feeling, and it doesn't need to be forced. If I go to feel like I need to force something or push something, I just no, like, just stop. Just come back,
Yeah.
let the answers appear, let the feelings appear, and you will be guided.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because really, we're here for things to be easy. Life doesn't need to be difficult.
Yeah. So,
And that's what the field taught me.
like, were there any particular moments or any particular, yeah, I don't know, just like pivotal moments, like a lot of people talk about having those, where just like something really just, I don't know, like broke, almost like the last layer of the ego just kind of broke. Do you remember having any of those moments, maybe where you, like, something that you wrote, or, whatever?
I think it was early doors. I think in the first sort of 2 months, it was really just breaking open. That was when my hair would stand on end. I'd be actually shaking during some of the daily miracles in a great way.
Yeah, yeah.
And, just speaking my words out loud. And I remember one day I was sitting in my study and it was about 5 p.m. and it was golden hour and the light was just streaming in. And, that really felt like it was just everything was right. There was just
Yeah.
nothing else needed. It was like peace, calm, serenity. That's what we were here for. And
But
that just gives me goosebumps remembering that moment. And I think there was a period again in that sort of 2 to 3 months mark, and I really started to drop into myself and actually trust myself as well, and really go, well, you don't need to put on a performance. You don't need to be anybody else except who you are. And as a group, I think we all were able to evolve as well, like that.
yeah,
Because,
yeah,
a group of strangers coming together can often, when we're in our mind, can feel intimidating. It could feel like something that, oh no, we couldn't possibly do that. But actually, when you start to just drop the guard and, your true self starts to be revealed, because that's who you've always been. So
mm,
it, and I think, you've spoke about healing. We've spoken about that tonight as well. And I don't even see it as healing. I think it's just a remembering.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
back to the remembering. We were whole and we are complete.
mm, yeah,
And that was like the pivotal drop. Just
yeah,
just that. Like if I was to sum up the field, and it gives us the confidence, it gives us that spark and belief in ourselves that we can go out and do anything.
a lot of people will spend their whole life seeking and attending,
Yes.
I don't know, various meditation groups and then going after this guru or that guru or whatever. Their whole life seeking. And one thing that I know of the field personally and from the experience of those who are in it is that like that it works so fast, like what you said, within a couple of months,
Mm.
it's like you can like you stop seeking.
Yeah.
There's nothing to seek. You've found. um does that sound accurate to you? Because I know that a lot of people might think, oh, I don't know. I think it's so in our culture, this idea of keep seeking and also keep outsourcing your authority to a guru or whatever. Whereas the field turns it back to you 100%. It's like, no,
That's right.
no, you are going back to you. Um, like is that your experience? Is that what you would is that what you would say is possible for people?
Oh, without a doubt. It gave us back our own agency. I realize I don't need to outsource anything. I just need to be able to be still to feel and hear what's coming through.
Hmm.
And there's always stuff coming through, and it's just whether I'm choosing to tune into that or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the daily miracles gave us the space to be able to feel and hear those messages. And sometimes it might have just been a whisper, but then you can take that and you can just breathe into it, and it's amazing then what opens up in the outside world. You walk differently, you see things differently, you encounter different experiences because maybe you're just that little bit more open and you trust yourself. You
Yeah.
know that your greatest guide is you. And such a good feeling to not feel like I need to seek something to fix me, because really none of us need to be fixed. We just
Yeah.
need to remember. It's just a remembering. It's a coming home to you. It's a coming home to all of us, as because we are a collective, and recognizing that we are part of something greater than ourselves. And I
Mm.
think that was the beautiful thing in the group, sharing everybody's daily miracles together, hearing their words, feeling their words, sharing your own. again, we don't do this in day to day
No,
life very often.
no.
So to have the opportunity to do that just opened up a whole new realm of possibility within each of us. And
Mm,
I think that's why it was really interesting in the Daily Miracles, because sometimes someone might be on about the sunset or birds or some random thing, but yet someone else over in America or in London was saying the same thing that I was down
yeah,
under. So it's like,
yeah.
well, is that a coincidence? Like, no, I think it's just that we're all on in the collective field at the same time, sharing the same energy.
The beauty of the field, or it's really part of the essential process of the field, is that it is within a group, because within a
Mm,
group there is zero space for the ego to hide, especially
yes.
with the particular process of the field. And the ego just like it basically, in the process of how the field is set up, the ego has no place. It cannot be present. And
Mm.
therefore it breaks. This is why it breaks down so quickly. How would you describe, being in a group? I know you've touched on it, and that kind of collective field and that collective energy that's released, and coming into coherence together as well, which is
Mm.
just so amazing. And seeing, not meeting each other as egos, which is what we so often do. When we meet people, we meet as the performance.
That's right.
But
Correct.
in the field, there is like, it has to go. In the field, you don't meet any of that. You don't even meet like the dirty laundry or whatever vulnerability in that sense. You meet the beauty, like the
Mm.
breathtaking beauty in people. Um,
Absolutely. I'm just thinking back now, remembering there'd be some times where there'd just be tears rolling down my face. And it wasn't because anything was bad or uncomfortable. It was just this undeniable, the mask was off. And
mm,
I was hearing people truly for who they were. And I was speaking really from my heart, which again is something very rare that you do in the everyday.
mm,
And it was like, again, I couldn't control what my body was doing. It's like if you just tears wanted to come down, they just did. And I'm sure, I think there was multiple times that happened to many of us. It was
mm,
just a feeling. And, the field is something that I'll never forget. Like it literally was a pivotal point in my life to be with a group of people for 12 months and go on a journey individually and collectively is just something that if you have the opportunity to do it, just say yes.